Pre-dawn in Naimkai, the village slumbers beneath a heavy mist. The air is thick and still. A lone rooster crows, breaking the silence. Oma stands on a hill, white dress clinging to her slender frame, eyes scanning the village below. Oma, whispering, clutching a wooden pendant. My voice was meant for song, not sorrow. She breathes in the cold morning air, but her hands tremble. From the village, faint sounds rise, women humming, men tying bright cloths around their waists, children tiptoeing. Yet something feels off. Eyes dart sideways, whispers drift like shadows. Oma descends the hill, weaving through clusters of villagers preparing for the wedding. Smiles are forced, laughter hollow. Okonkwo hushed, to Odinika. The songbird walks with a shadow today. Odinika nervous. The spirits are restless. Oma approaches the altar, a simple wooden platform draped in white and gold cloth. The sun's first orange rays streak the sky. She takes a deep breath, plastering a smile on her lips as she clutches the pendant tighter. Oma, soft, voice wavering. This song, it's for peace. The ceremony begins, drums pulse, elders chant blessings, and the village erupts in song and dance. Oma's voice, once bright and clear, struggles beneath the weight of unseen eyes. As the final chant fades, an unnatural hush falls. Eyes bore into her, cold, heavy, expectant. Oma's smile falters. Inside, the joyous song turns silent. The morning sun streams cold through the small window of Oma's room. She sits on the floor, pendant clutched tightly, staring out. The bed beside her is empty. Kwaku, her new husband, is gone. Oma, whispering to herself. Why did they take him? What secrets hide behind the elders' prayers? Outside, the village bus turns into mamas. Faces once friendly now wear suspicion, fear. At the market, two women whisper. Okonkwo. The bride has lost her voice. The spirits are angry. Odinika. They say the marriage broke the sacred balance. Oma tries to sing by the riverbank that evening, fingers trailing cool water. She opens her mouth, but only a broken whisper escapes. From the shadows, a familiar voice calls. Kofi, stepping into the moonlight. Oma, why do you hide your song? Oma, eyes glistening with tears. They say my voice is cursed. That I bring sorrow where there should be joy. Kofi, gently. Do you sing for them or for yourself? The song is yours too. Find it again. Not for their peace, but for your freedom. Oma looks up at the stars reflected in the river, hope flickering in her chest for the first time since the wedding. Twilight casts long shadows over the village square. Torches flicker uncertainly. The once vibrant place is tense, restless. Oma steps onto a rough wooden platform, the carved pendant heavy at her throat. She looks out at the crowd, some fearful, some curious. Her voice is low, steady, fierce. Oma, chanting. I am not the bride they broke. Nor the silence they forced. I am the song that refuses to die. The flame in the coldest night. A mama spreads. Okonkwo, whispering. She sings like the river after rains, wild, unstoppable. Kofi steps forward from the crowd. Kofi. Oma's voice is no curse. It's a call to break the chains that bind us all. The eldest man, Elder Ose, steps forward, face stern. Elder Ose, sharp. Enough. This rebellion will bring ruin. The spirits demand obedience, not defiance. Oma meets his gaze without fear. Oma. The spirits demand truth. And the truth is our traditions have become chains, binding us to fear, not freedom. I refuse to be the silence in your stories. I will be the song that breaks them. Voices rise. Odinika. Let her sing. Let her speak. From the shadows steps Mama Adwa, wise and strong. Mama Adwa. We have lived in fear too long. Oma's voice reminds us of joy lost. Maybe it's time to listen anew. Elder Ose lowers his hand, trembling. Elder Ose, softly. If your voice carries the spirit of our ancestors, Amma, sing for us a chant we have never heard. Amma closes her eyes, draws on memory, her mother's lullabies, children's laughter, the dance of festivals long past. Her voice rises, rich, haunting, full of sorrow and hope. Amma, singing. From broken roots rise mighty trees. From silent tears, the rivers freeze. We sing not for chains that bind, but for the hope we've yet to find. The crowd falls silent, moved beyond words. Kofi, whispering. You've given us a gift, a chance to break free. Later, by the riverbank, Amma and Kofi stand side by side. Amma, softly. I never wanted to be a symbol. I just wanted to sing. Kofi. Sometimes the song chooses the singer. You were born to lead. Amma looks to the stars, knowing the path ahead is hard. Amma. The elders won't give up power easily. But if my voice can heal, I will sing even if it breaks me. Kofi. You're not alone. We stand with you. The wind carries Amma's chant across the water, a promise that the song of the broken bride has only just begun. The night after Amma's rebellion, Naimkai does not sleep. Fires burn low in clay hearts, but eyes remain open behind shuttered windows. The wind carries fragments of her chant, broken, scattered, through the narrow paths of the village like an ember refusing to die. Some hear it as hope. Others hear it as danger. Opening hook. Amma wakes to the sound of pounding, soft, steady, deliberate. Not on her door. On her heart. Her dreams have been restless, images of her mother standing in a sea of flames, Kwaku reaching for her but vanishing into shadows, Elder Ose's voice turning into the hiss of a serpent. She rises and pushes the curtain aside. The moon hangs low, a pale coin between drifting clouds. Down the narrow path, a figure stands in the mist, still, watching. Amma grips her pendant. Amma, calling softly. Kofi. The figure doesn't answer. It takes one slow step forward. Amma's breath catches, until the clouds part and reveal Mama Adwoa. Mama Adwoa, hushed urgency. Child, dress quickly. They've called a council at first light. Amma. About my song. Mama Adwoa. About your defiance. And the spirits you've stirred from their sleep. By the time Amma steps outside, wrapped in a faded indigo shawl, the village air is sharp with unease. Kofi is already waiting by the old silk cotton tree. His eyes are shadowed, jaw tight. Kofi, low voice. They'll try to silence you again. If you bend now, they'll break more than your song, they'll break the hope you've lit in them. Amma. And if I don't bend? Kofi. Then we prepare for the storm. The council hut is an old structure, walls of red clay, roof thick with dried palm leaves. Inside, the elders sit in a half circle, each holding a carved staff. The fire in the center flickers, throwing their faces into sharp relief. Elder Ose sits at the center, his voice deep but trembling at the edges. Elder Ose. Amma, daughter of Kwabina the drummer, you have disturbed the balance. The chants you sang last night were not of the old ways. They were rebellion. Amma meets his eyes without blinking. Amma. They were truth. Elder Ose's jaw tightens. Elder Afia, the oldest among them, leans forward, her voice dry as leaves. Truth is a river, child. It can water the land, or drown it. Mama Adwoa, family. And lies are like weeds, choking what should grow. The girl's voice brings more than rebellion, it brings life to those who have forgotten it. Mamas ripple through the elders. Elder Kojo taps his staff on the ground. Elder Kojo. You speak as if this is only about her voice. The spirit spoke in the night. They warn of a shadow that will fall if she continues. Amma. Perhaps the shadow is not from my voice, but from the fear you cling to. The fire pops loudly. No one speaks for a long moment. Then Elder Ose rises, his staff striking the earth with each word. Elder Ose. You will be silent until the harvest moon. If you break this, the punishment will be exile. And exile is death. Gasps ripple through the hut. Kofi steps forward from the shadows near the doorway. Kofi. And if she refuses? Elder Ose turns to him, ice cold. Elder Ose. Then she drags you all into the grave with her. Outside, the council disperses slowly. The sky is lighter now, streaked with gold and crimson. Oma stands by the river, her reflection trembling in the current. Oma, softly, to herself. How do I sing when the cost is everyone's life? Kofi joins her, tossing a pebble into the water. Kofi. You decide what is worth more, your song, or their safety. But know this, silence has killed more people here than any curse. Oma turns to him, eyes searching. Oma. Then I will sing. But I won't be reckless. We'll need to be careful. Hidden. Kofi smiles faintly. Kofi. The storm is coming, Oma. And storms never stay hidden. Rising tensions. Word spreads quickly through Nyamkai. Some villagers avoid Oma in the narrow paths. For the revival of the old rite. It hasn't been done in 20 years. Oma. What's the old rite? Mama Adwa. A trial by the spirits. You must stand before the sacred fire, sing a song, and if the flames rise blue, you are blessed. If they burn black. She doesn't finish. Oma swallows hard. Night falls heavy. Torches line the village square. The air smells of burning kola nut and palm oil. Drums beat slow, deliberate, like a heartbeat waiting for something to strike it still. The elders stand in a circle around a large clay pit filled with firewood. The village gathers beyond them, faces tense. Elder Afia. Tonight, the spirits will speak. Oma, step forward. Oma walks to the edge of the pit, pendant warm against her skin. Kofi stands at the edge of the crowd, his eyes locked on hers. Mama Adwa murmurs a prayer under her breath. Elder Ose lifts a torch and drops it into the pit. Flames leap high, bright orange. Elder Kojo. Sing. Oma closes her eyes. She thinks of the river, the laughter of children, the way her mother's hands smelled of smoke and shea butter. She begins softly, her voice trembling at first, then growing steady. Oma, singing. In shadow's grip, the roots still grow. In deepest night, the rivers flow. No chain can bind, no fear can claim. The heart that beats in its own name. The flames waver, shrinking, then suddenly flare bright, hotter, sharper. Whispers rush through the crowd. Oma pushes on, her voice lifting higher, weaving sorrow and defiance into each note. The fire begins to change. Orange shifts to pale gold, then, for a single breath, the flames turn blue. A gasp sweeps the square. Elder Afia's eyes widen. Elder Ose's jaw clenches so hard it seems his teeth might crack. But just as quickly, the blue deepens, darkening into a deep, unnatural black. The heat vanishes, replaced by a sudden, biting cold. The crowd steps back. A baby begins to cry. The flames hiss, twisting into shapes, faces, mouths, open in silent screams. Elder Kojo, hoarse. The spirits, they are divided. Oma's song falters. Her chest feels tight, but she forces her voice out one last time. Oma, singing, defiant. Even if night swallows the dawn, I will be the song that carries on. The fire roars suddenly, then collapses into ash. A silence falls, heavier than before. Elder Ose steps forward, his voice like a blade. This is the proof. The spirits are in chaos because of you. Kofi pushes through the crowd, standing between Oma and the elders. Kofi. Or maybe the chaos was always here, you just didn't want to see it. The crowd murmurs, torn between fear and rising anger. Elder Afia looks at Oma for a long moment. Elder Afia, quietly, to Oma. You've woken something that will not rest. Not in the spirits, and not in the people. Oma feels the weight of every eye on her, the heat of both hatred and hope. She straightens her back, fingers curling around her pendant. Oma. Then let it wake. We have slept long enough. The wind picks up, scattering ashes into the crowd. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbles, low and slow, as if the sky itself is warning them. And deep in the shadows beyond the torchlight, a pair of unseen eyes watches, waiting.